So, Velociraptor. The purpose of Velociraptor is for instant response. It's specifically for this purpose. So you have a central server that gathers all data from all the machines. Every machine runs a client, and you can send requests for any kind of data from them. So you can examine your machines to see if they're infected or have unauthorized programs, or just to get a summary of, say, all the programs they have. So you want a server, you can run the server on Windows, but it runs much better on Linux. A single small Linux machine can control many clients, and the clients are typically Windows, but you could have them on almost anything. So to set up the server, it's incredibly simple. The Velociraptor website, this is free open source software. It got bought by Rapid7 about a year ago, but they haven't changed it at all. That's right, I haven't even slowed down development. So you just go here and download the right version for your machine. Now what I did was I got the Linux ARM64 version because I'm running a virtual Debian server on a Mac M1. You might need the Linux AMD 64 if you're on an Intel processor. You can also put it directly on the Mac, directly on Windows. And one thing that Velociraptor does is they keep it simple. The same executable is the server and the client. That's it. So all you have to do is change a config file. It's the same executable running. So once you've got it, you just download the version you want. I'm using the very latest version, which is 0.74 right now. And then you make it executable and run it, and you now generate a file called velociraptorconfig.yaml. And then the only thing you have to do is you have to replace all the IP addresses in there with the right IP address of your server. There's 5 places. You have to replace localhost and 127.0.0.1 with the right IP address for the public IP address of your machine. Then you run your local executable and create an administrator user and give it a password. And then you can just start the server. So I've already done this much. This is currently running the server, and it's showing a sort of log message as it goes by here. But when you first run it, it will tell you right away the IP address that it's loaded on. So I'll get back here. Pretty soon I'll be to where, here's where I ran it. It has a nice pretty banner, Velociraptor. And then it tells you the IP addresses it's running on and port, which somehow I am not finding. That's the front end starting. And okay, anyway, somehow I'm not finding it, but it did tell me at first, and all it is it's your server address :8889. So this is the Velociraptor homepage with a pretty thing, and you can now go home here, and this will show you your server status, which is CPU utilization, and the currently connected clients is 0. So this is just a server, but it's not doing anything yet. It's not connected. So let me carry on with this project. Once you've got your server going, this is what I couldn't find. It will just show you the address to connect to. There are 2 listening services. The one on 8889 is for the graphic control panel. The other one is for the bots, the agents, to send in data, and that's listening on 8000. So that's a useful thing to know. All right, and so now that's the GUI, and if you put it in the cloud, you have to let stuff through. There's a flag defined. So now we're going to make a Windows client. So let me start up my Windows virtual machine. I'm going to need it to be the client. And there it is. All right. And now we're going to create the Windows installer. So I'm going to go here and edit my configuration file. Here, okay. So I'm going to stop the server for right now to free up this window. I can start it again later. And now I want to look here. There's my config file, so I'm going to edit it. All right, and so below the nonce line, you scroll down a bit, and I guess the colors aren't too irritating here. I don't like them much though for the video. Let me just do this again. It's nano minus Y none, I think, to get rid of the colors. Yeah, there we go. All right, so go down to the end certificate line, and there's nonce, okay. And below the nonce line, we have to put in this correctly indented. YAML files are like Python scripts, indentation matters. So you have to put in 2 spaces and then that. The point is, when you install my server is using a self-signed certificate. When I first connected, I had to bypass the warning. If I don't put this in, the clients will try to connect and they'll refuse to connect because they don't have a real public SSL certificate, and that's bad. I want them to be able to connect because there's nobody going to click bypass on the client. So I put this here to tell it to let the clients connect even though it's a fake SSL certificate. That's important. Without that, it won't work. So now I'm going to prepare an installer, and you can make an MSI installer, which is very nice, and you do it right in the GUI. So I go to the plus sign here. Let's see. Okay, here I am, and I'll try going home. And now there it is. There's the plus sign. Now there are. Okay, so I want the plus, and I want to see server artifacts. Click this to see server artifacts, then the plus. Okay, one of these is server artifacts. I think it's this one. Let me clear that, and thought it would pop up. All right, but I think this is it. Nope, that's artifacts. Yeah, that's right. They do call them artifacts. Okay, now I want server utils create MSI, and you can just type in some words. And nope. Okay. That's right. It should have found things when I typed MSI. I'm having a little trouble. A network error. Oh, I'm not running the server. I stopped it. That's the problem. I have to start my server again. There, the front end has to be running. There we go. Now we're in business. Now, let me go back to where I was so I can show you. I go back home. Now when I hover over these, it should pop up something telling me what they are, but that's not working for some reason. Anyway, this is server artifacts plus, and now I can look for ones containing MSI, and there it is, create MSI. This is how everything works. And now I can configure parameters that are here, and they're going to be a custom configuration, and whether you want to build 32-bit MSI also. And so let me go to my instructions. All right, so I want to configure parameters, and I want to, if you enter the path to the configuration file, which is this, if my username is Debian, and unfortunately I changed the name of this folder to have the version number in it. So I'm going to go, I'm going to make a second window into my server here, which is SSH Debian at 192.168.121.197. Okay. All right. And now I can see the name of this server, and I can go in there and do pwd. That's the path to my config file on my server. That's what I have to get right here. Config file is here, and then the end of it is this. There, that's the part I had to get right. The path to the server. And I think that's all I need is the right path to the config file, then launch. That's it. So launch is here. All right. And so it's doing something. And if I want to know what it's doing, I should be able to view the log on the lower pane. It's done. The check mark tells me it's done. I click on that, and here it tells me information about it. And if I do the log, for example, it'll show me what it's doing. Starting query, parsing the config file. If anything was going to go wrong, like you forgot to put in the spaces, you'd see error messages here. But it's done, and it uploaded a file. So if you go to uploaded files, there it is. This is your Windows MSI file. So you have to put this on the client, and I'm just going to download it and put it on the client. You could put it on through a share or push it on through group policy, depending on how your Windows network is. So, all right. I'm going to find it and then put it in a server. That's one way to do it. There are many ways to move it to the Windows machine. This is how I decided to do it. I'll stick with this. I'm going to make a server of this Linux machine. So sudo find, starting at the root, find all the files, then grep for Velociraptor, and yeah, that's what then grep for MSI. this is a general procedure in Linux command line. You get a big list and then you filter it and filter it. So this will find file names that include both Velociraptor and MSI on the whole box. And I've got used to this, so there they are. And those are error messages, but someplace near the start, there it is. And it's in var temp. There's where the MSI was stored that was created. And so I just copy that path, and now I want to put that in my Apache folder. So I'm going to install Apache, because one thing to know, by the way, is if I look at the socket state, you'll see that this machine is now listening on several ports. It is listening on Velociraptor, is listening on 8889 and 8003 and 8001. SSH is listening on 22, and Velociraptor is also listening on 8000, but nobody's using port 80. So I can add Apache and it'll be okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Sudo apt install Apache 2. And that creates a folder to put files in var www.html. So I can do sudo copy that thing, that ridiculous long path, and put it in var www.html. And I should also change its name, because this name is kind of stupid. Org root velociraptor.msi. I'm going to call it velociraptor.msi. There. And now, I think that will do it. Let's check the permissions. var www html. It's not readable by everyone, and it should be. So I need to chmod all plus read var www html. And I'll just put a star there. Oops, I got to do sudo because it was owned by root. All right, so now it's readable by everyone. So now I should be able to just download it on the Windows machine easily. This is one of the many ways to move it over. So I go to my Windows machine, open up a browser, and go to that IP address with HTTP. It's not encrypted, so HTTP 192, 168, 121, 197, I think. Yep, that's the Apache default page. Now let me just check my instructions and see if I forgot anything. There it is. Yep, just download the thing and run it. Okay, so I add to this / Velociraptor.msi. And there it is downloading, and that's a Microsoft installer, so you can just double click it to install it. Now, that's the easiest way to do it. And all right, now if you have trouble, you can install it in the command line and you can see the log file and find out why things are not connecting. Let's see if it works. If everything is right, it will just connect and I'll have a client. It frequently fails because you make various mistakes, and then running it in the command line and looking at the messages will help you find it. Also running Wireshark at both ends will help you find if it's not able to connect. The most commonly you make a mistake with the address or the certificate or the config file. Students often do. Let's see what this does. It's installed something, so now it should be sending traffic up to my Velociraptor server. And by the way, you should see that here. And here it is, received a handshake from that other machine. Here it is receiving information. It's receiving requests from the server. So it looks like it's connecting. And if it is, I could be able to see it in the GUI here. If I go home, up here, I can do show all. And now I have a connected client, a Windows machine. So it worked. Now this machine is under control of the Velociraptor server. By the way, of course, there are security implications. If somebody can take over your Velociraptor server, they can run commands on all your hosts. So be aware of that. This thing should be well protected with hopefully like two-factor authentication or something. But that's necessary. It does have control. You can run commands on the host. So now we can collect data from the host. And I think, like I say, I have a lot of troubleshooting here. A lot of people have troubles, but then you connect. And now, let's take a look at the virtual file system. This is the easiest to understand. I don't use it much, but it's interesting. The VFS button is, I wonder where it is. Let's see if I can find it. At the top left. Let's see. I may have trouble finding it. Oh, I have to click the client first. There, now I'm on the client. Okay. And here's VFS. Okay, good. So now I'm viewing the client. I have general information about the client, Windows 11, what version it is, and so on. Now I can click VFS. If I wanted to, I can just explore the client here. I can go to NTFS, and then I think I have to refresh it over here. Refresh. Okay, and now I see the folders on the client. Here's C, for example. So now I can expand it here and go to C, and then I can refresh that. And now click here, expand. Now I've got C, Windows, C, users. I could click users and refresh it. So you can explore the directory tree here this way, one folder at a time. You can also explore like the registry here. So I can refresh the registry and I'll see the top root hives of the registry, HKey classes, root, and so on. And clicking here should load it. Yep. And now I can go for HKey users and all that jazz. So you can explore the machine this way. This is for the birds. You have this capability, but this is useless. I never do it that way. The way you do it is this way. Let me go home, all clients, and this. The way you do it is plus, which I'm having trouble finding. Let me go to my instructions. Right, that's the start. Exploring the file system, you can do that. But here's what you do. Go to an artifact. I want to go home, and there should be a plus right there. At the top, collected. This is it. Now you have plus. This is the power of Velociraptor. You have pre-made collections. So you hit plus, and you can now find anything you want. They have already made an artifact to collect anything you want from the machine. There's a language, a query language, you can write your own. I've never had to do it. The built-in examples are so thorough that you can do anything you want. For example, if I want to see the network connection, I can do ipconfig here. And I can just run ipconfig on that machine. I can run netstat. Let's do netstat. There, this will show me Windows Network Netstat. So I click that and launch it. It will run the netstat command on the Windows machine. It's done. I can click there and see the results, and here's the network connections of that machine. This is what I do. You can search the file system, the registry, the processes, everything with pre-made scripts. That's why, this is a big part of my forensics class. People used to use all different tools to do this, and they used to learn command line commands and everything, and that's all over. This is all in the GUI. Everything you need is right there. Yeah. Yes, OS query. This is considered, OS query is another way to do it. And this is, most people find this easier than OS query, but it's very similar. And I used to have projects using OS query, and I quit doing it because this seems to replace it. Yeah. There's no GUI in OS query, I think. That's right. So, and in fact, I think this might actually be OS query behind the scenes. I think it's based on it. Yeah, I think it's actually based on OS query. Yeah. This is basically the GUI for OS query. Yeah. And that's what we used to do, all these command line stuff, but this is so much easier. So, yeah.
I do want to point out that Velociraptor is a blue team tool, but it is awesome if you are a red teamer and you need C2 and you don't want to get detected by antivirus.
You use this for the malware.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like living off the land. You use a accepted executable to remote control. Yeah.
Another good one, if you're on the red team, you don't want to use Metasploit or anything like that. There's software called Mesh Central, MESH Central, and it does something similar to Velociraptor, except it's more oriented towards computer management. It gives you a shell and a desktop for all the computers. you just throw an agent on there, and it's just like malware.
That's it, eh?
Yep, it's just like malware, but it's not malware. So it won't
Good.
get detected by the antivirus.
I'll throw that in my news. Good. Thank you.
Wait, so is this like Velociraptor, but it's
No, it's just a remote administration tool. It doesn't have all those extra features, but it lets you remote control your machine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Velociraptor contains an agent, which is like that, but then it has the GUI and all these canned scripts in the query language is what it adds. All right. And so there's a couple flags you can find about this. That's good. Thank you. Let me see if I can get back to the instructions. Anything else I want to say about it here? Yeah, you can do. All right, we can also look at processes. Let's try that. I'm going to look at netstat enriched. And I'm going to restrict it to just Velociraptor because here I have all the network connections. And as you can see, there's a lot of them. But if I wanted to just see what Velociraptor was doing, I would do netstat enriched. Netstat enriched. And you can configure parameters here. So I can have I can filter the results by certain things. And so what I want to do is in process name regex. Down here, I can put in Velociraptor. So it will only show me things with processes that include that string. And now launch. And it's running with the hourglasses there. By the way, it's important to mention this. It never waits for anything. It's like an email server, because you might have 1,000 machines and you might be searching them for something, and some of them might be turned off or broken or have a bad network connection, so you don't want to wait for them to respond. You send them a request, and the server is free. They each process the request and then send the result back like email. So if only 900 of them respond, you move ahead. And also, each task has a limited amount of resources it'll consume. If whatever you ask doesn't finish within 2 minutes, it quits. So you do not overburden the clients. So this is important because you could search the whole file system for something and write a complicated query that's going to burden it too much. And you can limit how much resources it consumes on the client so you're not freezing up your network with your searches. So it's done. So when you click on that, I'll now get a lot of information about the running process Velociraptor. And notice I get a lot of good information, including the hash of it, because this is a forensic tool. You're presumably looking for malware. You're suspicious, so it's not enough to just have the name of the thing. You get the hash so you can check and make sure what it really is, because malware will change the name to something innocent. So it's pretty cool. You get a lot of information. You also get the Authenticode signature, which is really important. If it's signed software, then you'll see who signed it. And of course, if something is unsigned, that's suspicious. Usually, if something is signed, that means you can trust it if it's from a legitimate company like Microsoft. So that's important. Yeah.
One of the things that the students do to try to get rid of the hacker, so sometimes I will operate as a red teamer, and the students will have to defend their machines.
That's CCDC,
That's called
famous
CCDC,
contest,
yes.
yeah.
One thing that they will do is they will block any process that is not Microsoft signed.
Oh.
Now, I can assure you there are many Microsoft signed binaries that can act as malware.
And also there's a bunch of unsigned stuff that's part of Windows.
Yes.
You'll probably block some innocent stuff you don't want to block that way.
Yes. So just because it's signed does not mean it's not being used in the system.
Right, and this is what they call living off the land. Most hackers don't use malware anymore because we have so many ways to block it. They just use a legitimate tool like this, and Microsoft has legitimate tools like PSExec. It's a Microsoft tool to run a process on another machine. So you just use standard administration tools, and it doesn't you detect it as malware.
There's literally reverse shells in the Windows SDK. And it's signed by Microsoft. You can get a reverse shell out to any machine you want. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you can do it with bitsadmin. There's a bunch of ways to do it.
bitsadmin is good for downloading data.
Yeah.
And then of course you have PowerShell installed on machines.
Yeah. And PowerShell is really
PowerShell can be-
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Malware is the old-fashioned way. You infect it with malware and control the machine. These days, the cool kids do it without malware. What's that?
machine.
What's that?
You use the tools on the machine.
That's right. They call it living off the land, and there's even I should mention this, LOL bins.
Oh,
Yeah.
something even better. There's like LOL.farm.
Yeah, well, let me mention this one. Here's living off the land, binary scripts. There's a list of these. These are things people use to do malicious things that are not malware.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them, and there's a better one. I'll put that up too. Let me just save this one in the news link so people can find it. And which one do you like?
LOLOL.farm.
Lolol Farm. Living off the land farm. Okay, good. Another list of,
It's a list of all the living off the land
yep.
lists. So you
Oh,
have-
good, okay.
So you have, so
Okay.
it's not just like binaries on Windows. You have binaries on Linux.
Yeah.
You have open tools that you can upload, like cloud-based tools you can host your malware on.
That's cool. Yeah.
You have a whole bunch of stuff about Active Directory.
Yeah.
You know, just there's the Mac living off the land stuff too.
Yep.
DLLs, a list of DLLs that are easily hijacked in Windows.
And so this is the thing. Your malware, your antivirus is not enough. You want to look for these things, and you can do this with Velociraptor. Is somebody running this weird thing? Because even though it's legitimate, I don't think people should be using it. Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, it's all free and open source. Yeah. And yeah.
The big thing that's happening right now is that the companies are integrating AI and machine learning into their antivirus antivirus products. Yeah, so it starts to look for weird behavior heuristically more so in the past, so that if there is someone running a legitimate tool weirdly, it'll pick it up. So now the new hotness is to do something malicious but make it not look malicious.
Right.
Yeah, so our tool, right, it surveys behavior over time, right? So now it has this behavior of network devices, traffic.
Normal behavior, yeah.
Right? So if it sees something, it's pretty good at flagging it. But if you have something that, you know, if it does it one time, it doesn't really do anything, right? But now, okay, it usually, it goes to a log on where it usually does it, and it does it on like a weird time, right?
Yeah.
And then it does a big file or something like that, and it flags it. But I can see where if you have something that just logs on, does nothing, and logs on again, does nothing, over like months, and then start, you know, increasing like activity, then it won't catch it.
Yeah.
And this is AI, you know,
All right.
software detection.
I'm going to stop the video. That's enough for the first one here.